Bullpen. I'm John Mazzella. Thanks for coming in, everybody. We're going to start off with the numbers. We'll do first week of February. 20th place, Vindia T with 7,268. Caleb A, 7,315. Jose Rodriguez, 7,329. Chrislyn Williams, 7,530. James Vines, good job, kid. 7,585. Corey Williams, 8,554. Matthew B, 9126. Daniel R, 9294. Christopher Ford, 10,460. Michael H, 10,400. Janine C, 10,400. A lot of new names. Danielle Byrne, 12,198. Francis Doherty, 14,217. Orlando Payne, 14,749. Jose Columbus, 14,978. Number 5, Desmond Ray, 15,624. Number 4, Stephanie Kova, 16,400. Jonathan Porcina, 19,269. Muhammad R, 26,725. And number 1, Stephen Giordano. So big round of applause for those guys. Top issue paid agencies for week 1, February. Dynasty, 6,333. FFL The Good Life, 9,396. 12,696 for FFL Wisdom, Strength, and Beauty. Carlos Reynoso, good job, son. Is he here?
No, I got to step up.
All right. Michael Lower, 12,777, pay it forward. Cindy Sitting, 16,830 for FFL Service Before Self. Stephanie Kova, FFL Insurance and Trust, 17,654. Alex L, FFL Third Coast, 18,030 bucks. Danielle Byrne, FFL Legacy, 23,052. Jonathan Porcina, FFL Loyalty, 23,912. Francis Doherty, FFL Shoreline, 26,044. Jesse Paula, 34,367 for FFL Avenues. Gabrielle S, 38,176, FFL The Way. Mark T, FFL The Chosen Ones, 51,131. Carrie Joyner, 53,828, FFL Humble Beginnings. Jose G, FFL Momentum, 58,559. Caleb A, 67,663, FFL 320. And sixth place, David Pyle, FFL Great Lakes, 78,460. Steve Giordano, FFL Health and Wealth, 107,752. Wayne Carr, FFL Hidden Gems, 123. Number 3, Brian Mendenhall, FFL Central, 163,491. Number 2, Rob Richmond, FFL Apex, 174,730. And FFL Universe, Ivan Fedorov, 401,476. Good job, guys. Bunch of first-time writers, going to shout you out. Bart G, Scott M, Juan M, Joshua B, Willie G, Lloyd D, Carlos B, William J, Jessica T, David S, Zachary K, Rachel G, Daja C. If I mispronounce your name, Daja, I apologize. Miracle L, LaShawn J, Darwin A, Didier N, Michael P, Kimberly M, Cody B, Carol S, Katrina M, David S, Madeline J, Rosalind J, Steve T, Timothy H, and Nathan D. Good job, guys. All right, going over the numbers today. I think this is coming out of conference, right?
Yeah.
This is coming out of conference? All right, so Carlos Reynoso, 7 appointments. 7 people said to him, come to my house, I'll sit down with you. Of those 7, 2 people actually were there. and he closed one of those, and he got one application, a total of 860. Noah, 12 appointments, 6 sits, 3 closes, 3 applications, 2545. Shanae, 6 appointments, 5 sits, 5 closes, 6 applications. Good ratio, girl.
Thank you.
Albane J, 11 applications, 5 sits, 2 closes, 4 applications. Akil, 3 applications, 1 sit, 1 close, 2 apps. John Mazzella, 16 apps, 11 sits, 7 closes, 7 apps, 8,900. And Aaron Goodwin, 13 sits, 13 apps, 3 sits, no closes, no apps. We're going to talk about that in a minute. How many people on?
6.
6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I mean, there should be a lot more than 6 people. I mean, coming out of conference, there was a lot of hungry
Agreed.
people in there. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to go over some different things. And I know over the weekend, I've had a lot of phone calls from agents in regards to, hey, John, can you give me some tips on phone scripts and in-home? But I was actually, I wanted to talk to you guys about phone script because I think that's everybody's problem, if there is a problem, because it all starts with the phone. You know, when somebody picks up the phone, I personally think you have like 4 seconds to get that person's attention. And whatever way you guys are doing it, I think I spoke to you earlier. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Akil.
That's you?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And again, I don't know who your manager is. I just do things differently. And I think when you call them the instant internet leads, because they're getting 1,700 calls that one day from all different people, I just like to keep it simple. I'm just, hey, Bob, this is John Mazzella from Family First Life. How you doing? You know, and it's like, it's going to go one of 3 ways. It's either I'm doing very, very well. How are you? And that's the answer you're looking for. Or who are you? Or I'm not interested in slam. I just don't believe in, hey, this is John, mortgage protection, or you filled out some information, I'm gonna fill the right, blah, 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 and just keep talking, because I think you lose people because they're so used to getting voice recordings and not live voices. So I think when somebody picks up the phone and you're having a conversation, hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm John Mazzella. I'm calling from Family First Life. I'm just giving you a call in regards to this information you sent over for life insurance. And I just shut up. And most of the people are like, oh, yeah, okay. And I get right into it. Your date of birth is this. Your address is this. And then I'm just like, what's up? You know, what was on your mind when you filled this out? And you're just having a little bit of a conversation about, and I've said this so many times in the past, where I like to have people talk to me instead of me doing all the talking. Like, why did you fill this out? What could I do for you? And then let them tell you, well, I just had a policy expire, or my policy's going to expire, or I was just looking at final expense insurance. And then from there, you could just go anywhere. You know, ask a couple of questions, book the appointment, and just keep going. So yeah, I mean, I know you had a couple of questions for me lined up. What was one of them?
So you kind of entered it with you have a conversation. That was my issue. When I get on the phone, it's kind of like they begin to back out. They're like, no, I don't want it, I don't need it. And I feel like it's my approach, my tempo, my tonality, or something like that.
I mean, it could go both ways. I mean, it could be we talk too much at first because we're just so hoping that we get the appointment.
Yeah.
As opposed to I just do psychological reverse, like, why don't you sell me on why I should come to your house instead of me saying I'm going to come to your house? And they'll tell you why. Either they're looking for final expense, or they just bought a house, or you know, whatever the case may be, and you're just writing down your notes. And I think when they tell you what they're looking for, you have a better chance of booking that appointment because you could help them. I mean, it's worked for me in many different levels, whether it's mortgage or whether it's instant leads or whether it's state regulated program life insurance for final expense. You know, that's my pretty much approach with everybody. But yeah, that's my approach on the phone. I'm real cut and dry. Just, what's up? What can I do for you? Just keep it simple. And then once they realize who you are and why you're calling, they kind of take a step back from being that condescending jerk, especially here in Jersey. Bro, what happened?
You know, again, a few no-shows, apartment buildings, you know, getting left at the door, got to buzz in.
Yeah, I told you, next time, I mean, if you guys are going to apply, and I think I learned this from Steve G, or somebody, I don't remember who it was, something tells me Steve. I got Steve's mom here, so she could actually verify if this sounds like her son. I think when you go into an apartment building and 4B is not answering, you just gotta like, buzz them all. Just, somebody's bound to let you in. You know, oh, I left my key home, or just, whatever you gotta do, man. I mean, that's what I used to do when I used to do apartment buildings. I used to ring them all, and then, you know, either they're not home when I get to the door, or how'd you get in? I ring them out. So, any questions? Anybody help me out? Because it's only 10, 15 minutes and I got a little ways to go.
I think too, like John, because of who John is, his personality, that works really well for John, because John is this kind of guy that's going to stay in control through the whole conversation. He's going to control the tempo. When you're new, you won't be able to do that. And especially with Jersey, they're going to run all over you. So you kind of have to, in my opinion, you have to work with an approach that's going to work for you. Because what John does, the way he does it is specific to John.
Help me out, come on.
No, I don't need to do that.
There are people that want to know who you are.
I'm just saying the way that, like, how John is going to approach something is going to be different, right, from the way that I approach things. So the way Keon approaches things. So you kind of have to, I would say, listen to different people, which is why coming into the office is important, because you guys can listen to different people making phone calls. You know, you can hear John's style, my style, Aaron's style. You can listen to Akil, Shanae. Shanae has actually made a lot of improvements over the phone. Amen.
I'm glad you're in here, because when you're out there, it's like, hey, this is Shanae. I'm calling her. I'm like, speak up,
put her
girl.
front and center in the middle. And one of the things, guys, and John, you will probably agree, is like what made a big difference in Shanae is she's taking things from me, from you, from all the other people that she listens to, and she's implementing it, which is important. But she's so much more confident now than she was 3 weeks ago.
What did I tell you a few hours ago? I'm like, that sounds strong. Whatever I said to you when I pounded you, I mean, you sound incredibly good.
Thank you.
You sound incredibly good. I mean, I was in the kitchen taking my time with the coffee because I wanted to hear you get off the phone before I went back inside. You sound so much better. So just keep plugging away. And yeah, I mean, the way it is in this business, we don't tell you to watch videos just because. I mean, your job as an agent, I mean, the ultimate goal is, I think that if you are yourself, like, Aaron, people love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be you. Just be who you are. But if you could take a little bit of, I always thought of it as like Mambo number 5. It's like, you know, a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, a little bit of that one, and then you incorporate it into your own self and just see, like, dude, that's a great question you asked. And obviously you got that from me. And I hate to say it that way because I don't really, like, I don't think I'm all that, but that's a phenomenal question when somebody said, they took care of it already. What was the question? Because I forgot, but I know it was a good question. We'll get to that.
Did Did you do it online or did you do it
No.
over the phone?
Nope,
Not
nope. Oh, what was your reasoning? What was your reasoning for filling this
that.
out?
Yeah.
That's a
What
great
were
question.
you
That's a
thinking
great
about
open.
Yeah.
You know, especially with the instant internet leads. It's a great question to open up with. Like, dude, why'd you waste my time? Why am I calling you? What possessed you to fill this out? Did somebody die? And just let them talk. And that conversation worked out really well for you. But yeah, the reason why we're here on Mondays is because we're just feeding off of each other and we're just picking up little things that's going to make you better. And from Shanae being here every week, all due respect, it's not like you're doing 30, 40,000 a month, but you'll definitely get there. And
Right.
you're here every week and you're slowly but surely getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Some people it takes longer than others.
Right.
But just being here, you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Just being here, you're gonna do numbers because you just see what's going on around you.
Right.
You got Britt with you, you got me, you got Mark. I mean, there's always somebody to talk to.
You guys have
Anybody
a
else?
question?
Say that again?
You have a question on here.
It better be a good one.
I know.
See, Steve, like there's only like 5 people, but Steve is here every week. Steve is always calling me up, asking me questions during the week, texting me. That's the reason why you, Steven, do 30, 40 a month, because you're here every week. You're asking questions. So for me to only see 5, 6 people online, it just mind boggles me because I spoke to I can't tell you how many people that I'm Facebook friends now this week, just alone coming out of conference. I mean, is there a question?
I think so, yes.
Can you read that for me?
Sure.
I don't have my glasses on.
No, I
Eyesight
don't
sucks.
wanna.
I think he's asking me if I ask people if they have any codes.
So when on the phone, ask them if they have any gates, codes, or apartment numbers I need to know about. So I guess that's his advice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think you have that issue where you live because you're, Steve, there's, if I'm not mistaken, you live around horses and cows and farms. In Jersey City, it's a different story, but so I don't know if you do that, but I know, like I just said to you before, like I was saying before, I think if Mary Smith in 4B is not home and that's your appointment, I just think you gotta answer all the bells, and I think that's what he's implying to. I hope that's what he's implying to. But again, yeah, Steve is here religiously every Monday, and if you look at his numbers, he's creeping up there every month. Any other questions?
I have a question regarding people not answering the phone. And I can go through the pile and I'm just not getting them to answer. And I will dial, I'll hit it 2, 3, 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps going to voicemail or whatever the case may be. And then I'll try different times. Like when I leave here, I'll call in the evening.
Yeah, unfortunately,
How do you
you
get past
can't
that?
control people answering the phone. One thing we learned in conference, I forgot who it was, I apologize. You buy 100 leads, 80 of them are not going to answer. But we got to concentrate on the 20. Even if 5 out of 20 say, hey, now's not a good time, call me back. I try not to get pushy. I do try to call them back. And I'll just say, hey, just, straight out before I call you back, is this something you're interested in or not? Because if not, I'll just keep moving. And I don't have a problem saying that. But yeah, I am interested. Just, no, it's not, no problem. I'll call you back. And if I keep calling, they don't answer, I'm gonna door knock them. But I mean, aside from calling 3 times in the morning, 3 times after 7 o'clock at night, you know what? Call at 7 a.m.
One thing that you said that stood out to me is Laura, is that if you call them, like, okay, and it goes to voicemail, their phone might be off, but if you're continuously calling them, it goes straight to voicemail, they blocked you, they blocked your number. So you have to hit them from a sideline number or a Google Voice number, talk a tone, I think is what Carlos uses. You have to use them from another number because if you're getting the voicemail right away, they've already blocked your cell phone number. You know what I mean?
Most of the time, yeah, and you have a New York number?
Yeah, but I've been using the slide line too.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if you have, like me, I have a 917, you probably have a 516 or 631.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once they see New York, they're like, I don't know anybody in New York, I'm not picking this up.
But even if I use the slide line number, and I had this one lady where I did just what they said on the calls, like I did all 3 numbers, and oh my God, she started screaming at me, who the hell are you to use different numbers and block your number? And, you know, she was on to me.
It doesn't happen often.
No, I know.
And if it does, you just gotta move on. I mean, I'm sure your son hears no quite a few times a day,
Oh, my God.
but he just keeps pushing. He doesn't worry about the 80 people saying no to him. He
I
concentrates
just
on
feel like I can't get enough of appointments. I know everything is the volume, it's in the number, so the more leads you have, the more calls you can make, the more calls you can make, the more appointments you can set, and so on and so forth. I feel like I can't get myself to the place of having enough appointments for you know, because you're gonna get out there and you're gonna, you know, like Aaron, some are gonna be a no-show, some you're gonna sit, you're not gonna sell them. You know, if you only have a couple of appointments, your chances of having nothing for the week is far greater
Right.
than if you're.
Are you going back to your older leads? And what leads are you just calling internet leads?
These are instant internet leads, yeah. I'm gonna have to start getting different,
We'll talk after this.
yeah,
I mean, you have to diversify.
yeah.
And then also, if you're missing the 4 to 9 p.m. window, that's also a really, really crucial time to call. I get a lot of people, I book a lot of appointments in that evening hour.
Well, when I leave here, I go right to the hotel, because I stay here for a few days. I go right to the hotel and get on the phone till 9 o'clock.
Okay. Still having the same
Did
thing.
sorry, I'm coming up with convention, I can't remember who said this, but I thought it was pretty interesting, and I'm not quite sure if you had a chance to hear it. But there was a person, who mentioned that during the no-show times, they have another kind of a resource where they're going back in the car, and they have people to call specifically for this no-show around the area. I can't remember who it was, but I thought that was an interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
So this way we can do a pop-up or a door knock while, you know,
Right.
making sure you're utilizing all the
yeah, I
time.
think it's imperative. I think it's imperative that whenever we go out on the field, we're not just going out with the 8 appointments for the day. We have to be going out with all the leads.
Right.
So I know me, I work Ocean County, I work Ocean County and Monmouth County. I don't like going from Ocean to Monmouth and Ocean back and forth. So what I'll do is if I'm in Ocean County, I'm making sure I'm bringing all my leads with me, especially the leads from the last couple of weeks. So if somebody's not home, I'm door knocking. But yeah, you got to keep busy. And then there was somebody on Facebook yesterday or the day before, I think it was over the weekend, who said that he had a bad day because he had 8 appointments, 7 people didn't show. He sat down with 1 person, he got 1 application. And he was breaking down the numbers. And I was doing the math that if you break it down by hour, I'm making $70,000, $100,000 a year. And I had told him, dude, you sat down with 1 person, you closed 1 policy, you're batting 1,000. Now what you do is you go back to those 7 people that stood you up the next day and you ring the bell and, hey, what's up? We had an appointment yesterday, and you just walk right in. You know, you don't call them, you know, don't introduce yourself all over again. Don't just go back. They invited you to their house once. Just go back. They probably forgot you, but they probably still want the insurance. They didn't say come to my house if they didn't want it. I would just go back there later on in the day but yeah, it's definitely important to carry all your leads with you, because if you do have that 2-3 hour window or that 1-2 hour window, instead of sitting in Wawa playing Words with Friends, which I've done before, that was live, right? Yeah, just bring your leads with you and just see who's in that vicinity. And Steve said it well, like about a month ago. He's like, oh, Mrs. Parker said no to me. She wasn't interested, but the lady around the corner who I happened to call to take her place wanted insurance. So I mean, that's why he does $1.3 million a year, because you just got to be creative. But obviously, it all starts with leads. But yeah, definitely take all your leads with you. And you know, when you wake up in the morning, and you know, Wayne Carr said it best: when you wake up in the morning, you're getting all your leads, all your ducks in a row, but also take a bunch of other leads that you have in that area just to fill in your schedule. And if your last appointment's at 4, don't go home at 4. Stay out till 8, 9 door knocking, because, you know, especially on the I can never pronounce that, especially on the internet leads, a lot of those people work till 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. So, anything else, anybody?
I had a question.
Are we raising our hand?
Yes, sorry. I have a question about in-home though. And I still have it.
Say that again?
In-home. Can
What
I
about?
ask? Okay.
Of course
So
you
what
can.
is I just want a different way to tell a client that the payment is due today.
Like no post date.
Yeah, don't post it. Cause I know.
See, I'm totally different, and I see a lot of people say no post date, no post date. Listen, everybody, for those of you that don't know my story, I was on welfare like 2 years ago. And if somebody came to my house and said, John, I need a payment for you to protect your family today, I'm like, dude, get out of my house, you're not getting it. So I know what it's like to not have money. As far as the post date, you know, I'm gathering you do everything electronically on the laptop.
Mhm.
So I would attack it as, here's what's gonna happen. Once you get approved, they're gonna hit your account within 24 to 48 hours.
Mhm.
If they say, no, that's not good, I mean, I'm more lenient than a lot of people. Like, I'll reach out, like I'll do phone conferences with Americo or Mutual of Omaha, and I'll be like, all right, you got it. Like, before we get into it, one of the first thing I'll ask is, they're gonna draft first premium within the first couple of days. Is that okay for you, or do you need a little bit more time? And if they say they need a little bit more time, I mean just like a week. But I've had people say, listen, I can't do this until March 1st. And here we are, like this weekend, I had somebody say, I can't start this till March 1st.
Right.
And it's February 14th. And I'm like, why can't you start on March 1st? Are you negative in your checking account? Because I don't want to hurt you.
Mhm.
If you can't afford to do this, then I'd rather you not do it. They're like, no, I just got things going on. I'm like, all right. But again, my approach is different than a lot of other people.
Mhm.
But to answer your question, I mean, you also want to know if you're writing bad business.
Right.
Because if they have Social Security and they're only getting $800 a month, and you're giving them a final expense policy for $78 a month, chances are they're going to not be able to afford that one of these months when
Right.
the crap hits the fan for something. You know?
So do you give a kind of like I don't know how, like a scenario? Do you give them like a scenario like, hey, you know, is this price good for you? You know, God forbid if your refrigerator breaks down, do you do something like that to make sure that price is good for them?
I give everybody 3 options, even if it's final expense. Like if I go into a house, like again, we talked about it when I first came on here, reverse psychology. If somebody says they're getting cremated and they're looking for final expense insurance for cremation, all they really need is $5,000. So I'll give them a $5,000 policy. I was like, all right, here it is, $28, Mutual of Omaha. Oh, how much is $10,000? Because they can afford $28, so they're asking for a little bit more.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I'll just lowball somebody instead of starting high.
Right.
It all depends on who we're walking into. But yeah, I usually give people 3 choices. Usually I start at 40 if it's Moo, if it's Americo, I'll start at 30, 25, 20. And if they're a little bit on the fence with that, I'll come down a little bit.
One of the things, Steve did an example of an in-home at our conference in Miami, and you know, he would tell me to do this, but actually watching him do it, it kind of put in perspective. What he does is he goes through the financials with them like, what is your income, where is it coming from, and if there's a couple, who's bringing it in.
Mhm.
And then he'll go through the expenses, starting with the rent or mortgage, and then he'll say, most people's general expense for gas, electric, and so on is around $1,500 a month. That's if they're a homeowner. Does this sound right to you? And he'll kind of figure out what their expenses are, and then he'll see what their excess is, if any.
Right.
So he'll say to them, so it's safe to say that after you pay your rent and you're paying your bills, you have about an additional $400 a month or $300 a month or whatever it might be.
Right.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
And then it's right there in front of them. And then he'll do the three choices. He'll do like a lower one, a medium, and then a
The
higher
highest.
a higher one. And the thing is and if they say, oh, I can't afford it, he already knows what the income
Right.
to expense
Okay.
ratio
Yeah, I mean,
is.
we should all be asking how much people make on a monthly basis. But as far as your question, I don't have a problem telling people, yeah, I don't need, you heard me say it. I mean, I don't know who heard me say it, but I told the guy, I was like, listen, I don't need money today. He's like, listen, John, I want to do it, but I don't have money today. I'm like, dude, I don't need money today. I need a signed application today. Let's see if you're approved, and if you really want to do this, we'll attack it. Certain times I'll push people out 2 weeks. But again, I really don't get chargebacks unless they drop dead. I have like 5 of those in the
I think
last
that
6
the
months.
key for me is assuming, John, so we're gonna go through the process, I explain what it is we're gonna take an application to see if you qualify. Everybody else does this differently as far as letting them know whether or not they're approved today. I always let people know. That's me personally. Not everybody does that. But if you're approved, your coverage is gonna start day one. The payment's going to be, the first payment will be drafted within 24 to 48 hours. And then at that point, when I'm explaining to them, they know exactly the premium, they'll know if they're approved, et cetera. If there's any pushback or any issues, obviously people that are on a fixed income, seniors, or people, maybe the budget's a little bit tight or something's going on, then of course, if they really have to post date it based on when their income is or their excess of money, et cetera, then, of course, work with them. Don't walk away from the coverage, and don't work with them. But I think if you just assume that way first, it's not an issue. If you don't make it an issue, it's not an issue. Then offer that, okay, we can make this more comfortable, John, when.
Yeah, and also what I do too is reverse psychology. Shanae, they're gonna hit your account within the next couple of days. But what day of the month works best for you going further? Like we're gonna hit your account today on the 15th, 16th, whatever today is. Do you get paid on the 1st, the 15th, the 29th, the end of it? What's your pay schedule like? Are you the third Wednesday of every month? Should I post date it for the 25th? If it's a Social Security and it's final expense, chances are they're getting paid the third Wednesday of every month. And if it's the 14th, I'm like, all right, do you have that money in your account today? Because we'll hit your account now, and then the next payment's going to be due March. We could do the third Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
So by doing it that way, they're sort of forgetting that.
You just said that you're gonna
And
pay.
John can say hit your account, but none of you say hit your account. Use different verbiage, please, because they're gonna be like, what? Yeah, hit my account.
Yeah, so it also depends on when they do get paid.
All right, so when you came here, I remember you said that you approach your instant internet and your final expense and your mortgage different. So what is the difference between the instant internet and the final expense?
It's a good question. It's a great question. I love answering this. On the instant internet leads, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know if you're gonna see their age. If it's a 65-year-old guy, 70-year-old guy, chances are they're looking for final expense insurance. But that could be open. That could be, how many times we call an internet lead and they're 70 years old and they're looking for 100, 200,000. And I'm like, easy guy. But we could do anything for anybody. But to answer your question, with the internet leads, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. So again, I take the approach as, what could I do for you? What possessed you to fill this out? Are you looking for final expense, or are you looking to make somebody rich? On the final expense leads, it's state regulated life insurance program for final expense. It says it right there on the card when they get it. So that's strictly final expense. For mortgage leads, which are my favorite, it's only for mortgage. They get it. Oh yeah, you know what? This is a good idea. Let me look into it. And on the mortgage leads, you have the bank's name, you have the loan amount, you have their phone numbers. Like you have so much information on it. And if you utilize all that information in your approach, you're going to get the appointment because, hey, this is John Mazzella from the Mortgage Benefit Center. I'm just giving you a call in regards to some information you sent to your mortgage company, Caliber Loans. I see you were looking for mortgage insurance against your loan of $210,000. Oh yeah, okay, great. I've been assigned education manager. Just want to verify your information, and then you roll into it. But also, what helps too is I just say that flawlessly, like I'm saying my name. Like a lot of you guys are reading off scripts right now, and that's cool, but learn that. Because if people, remember, a lot of people that we're calling are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. So they've heard the sales pitch better than us. Like they know it better than us. So they know if you're reading off a script. So just when you talk to somebody, just talking like you have a conversation. And it'll definitely go a long way. Is that another question?
Yep. From Teresa, I can't pronounce her last name. How do we learn how to be authentic, relax, and tell a joke? People skills. A person can be intelligent but have no people skills. How do I develop these skills?
That's another good question because I have people come to me all the time and say, dude, how do you do what you do? Like, I hate people. Like my son, 18 years old, he's taking his test. He's getting licensed. He's like, I don't want to do what you do. He's like, I don't like people. I'm like, dude. So to answer that question, you just have to remember it as people are looking for your help. You're not calling out of the yellow pages. You don't need to be a people's person. All you really need to do is be a licensed agent. And as long as you're licensed, see, like my approach to a house is I'm not a smart guy at all. I went to college, but if I accumulated 6 credits in 3 years, that's a lot. I know a lot about a little, and I know a lot about life insurance. So there's nothing you can tell me. As far as people skills, that will eventually come as you get better on the phone. Like, well, everybody that's in this room, like all those people in the back, all you guys in the back, like you come here on Mondays because you're learning. So you're going to get better and better and better. By coming to the office on Monday, I'm not going to guarantee you that you're going to get 30 appointments the next week, but you are going to get better. And there's a lot of people in here that sound a lot better than they did a month ago. We won't mention any names. But as far as people skills, you don't really need to have people skills. All you really need to do is just know the sales pitch, know the phone script, know the in-home presentation. And then when you're going into a house and you pick up the little pictures of grandkids or Yankee memorabilia or whatever the case may be, you just find something that you can converse with it, you can interact with that person with. So if it's kids and you have kids, go on that page for a little while. If it's sports, you go on that page for a little while. So you really don't need to have people skills because, to be honest with you, these people answering the phones and letting you in their house, they don't want to be your friend. They just want to know how you can help them. See, me, I'm just a little bit more personable and I'm a little bit more personable with people in my initial call because I don't get a lot of 3 and 13s and 2 and 7s and 6 and 12s. I'm more like 5 and 7. My sit ratio to appointments is pretty tight. Sometimes it's wider than others, but I make sure that when I'm going to a home, people know who's coming to their home. If that makes sense. Anybody?
How do you tie down an appointment?
Say that again?
How do you tie down an appointment?
What do you mean?
How do you cement the appointment?
So they don't no-show you.
Oh, there's just, again, I think that the more questions you ask in the initial call, like, Hey, John, this is John Mazzella from the Senior Benefit Center. I'm getting back to you about life insurance, whatever the case may be. Okay, great. Verify the information. Yeah, my job is simple. That's just to get this information out to you. I'll be in your area tomorrow at 2:00. Does that work for you? Yeah, great. All right, hang up. Like, to me, it's like you hang up with them. They don't know your name. They don't know why you're coming. Where I think that if you just interact with that person a little bit more, I mean, you're not making love to them, but do you plan on being cremated? Do you plan on being buried? Who are you looking to protect? Your husband, your kids? Just like little questions. And every phone call is different. So you just gotta just be creative. One of the best questions for final expense is, do you plan on being cremated or buried? Do you smoke or do you smoke or not? Yes, I smoke. Do you plan on quitting anytime soon? Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, great. The reason why I asked that is because there is one carrier of all the carriers I work with that will give you a non-tobacco rate. And you don't give up the information on who the carrier is. You just say, I could get you a non-tobacco rate. Do you think you could quit smoking in 3 years? Oh, yeah, I could do that easily. Okay, great. I'll be at your house to give you this information, what works best for you. Now the guy's like, he's waiting for you to come because, wow, I smoke and I could get a non-tobacco rate. Let me see what that's all about. And I think by keeping people puzzled about you goes a long way, because then your sit ratio to close ratio tightens up. Help me out here whenever you want to interject.
No, I think that's right. One thing that he said that is completely true is every conversation you have with different people is different. So like, I usually just go based off the flow of the conversation we're having. But John's absolutely right. If John is memorable over the phone by asking maybe certain questions that interest them, John's finding out, who are we protecting here? Is it for yourself, or did you request this information for a spouse or a child as well? And they're giving you that information. Obviously, they're expressing interest. Because let's be clear, is people request information online, they tell you they didn't, but they did. So that means they are interested in life insurance. So our approach should be that they are interested. It's not anything that we have to tiptoe upon lightly. Like John said, we're not calling people out of the yellow pages. We're not just randomly showing up at people's houses. This is information they requested. So we have to have that mindset when calling that you're going to book the appointment. You just needed to explain, okay, why am I gonna see John? Because like John said, there's 5 people calling John.
Is that a question or scratching your neck?
I have a question.
Let's out.
Have you had anyone mention to you or say to you, listen, I don't want to give you my banking information. I'm concerned about scams or, something like that?
Aaron, here's my license, dude. I'm not going to risk your $50 premium a month to risk my whole life. I'm a single dad. I have 2 kids. I just bought a house. I'm not risking your $50 premium. All due respect. You're not making the check out to me. And what I've been doing too, when I do phone interviews between Mutual of Omaha and the client, and between Americo and the client, like I had 2 people this weekend. I went out and they're like, I'm not letting you in my house. I'm like, why? Like, COVID. I'm like, no big deal. I'm still coming to your house anyway. I need to check your ID. Okay, no problem. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your door. You're going to show me your driver's license from your screen door. I'm going to look at your license. I'm going to go sit in my car, and we're going to do the interview. Have I had that happen to me? Yes. So there's numerous ways you could do this. It all depends on what we're doing. What I do, like, I don't even get involved anymore. Like, I tell the client, just so you know, you're not making the check out to me. I'm going to start the conversation with Americo, and then you're going to give them all the banking information. Like, this has nothing to do with me. It's between you and them. But yes, have I had people say, yeah, I don't want you to go into my check account? Fine, no problem. We can do this one of 2 ways. Either A, you write out a check for a quarterly payment, or you do it on an annual basis. And just do it that way if you have to. I wouldn't do that with every client. I mean, there are ways to get the checking information, but another way too is, again, reverse psychology. All right, I'm going to need a voided check or your banking information. I don't need the routing number because I have that already, because that is public information. And every one of you out there that are on the field, Like me, New Jersey, I have a list of all the banks and all their routing numbers in one of my, in my book. So I know like TD Bank, 031, 201, 360. Like I know all the routing numbers. So by saying little stuff like that, it's like, if you make it something, it becomes something.
Right.
Like just pour it out. Like, what's your social? Like, dude, I can't put an application in without showing any form of payment. You know, you have a mortgage.
Yes.
Do they take that out of your checking account?
Yes.
What's the difference between Caliber Loans and Mutual of Omaha America? Come on, man, you're getting insurance. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna run away with a voided check. Like, I'm not risking my license over $50 premium.
They don't wanna give it when because you're doing the app. Like, in other words, well, I didn't say I'm gonna do this yet, so why do I have to give you my information?
To be honest with you, I don't roll that way, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I'm coming to your house to write you a life insurance policy. I'm not coming to your house to pull a wool over your eye.
Oh, I know that. but-
So if I'm coming to write you a policy, I need your social, I need your driver's license, I need your banking information, and I need you to be real with me, and I need you, like, I'm not backdooring it. Well, I'm just taking the app to see if you get approved. And then what happens when you get approved, then they hit the account, because Amerigo doesn't give you any time. They don't give you an email saying, hey, your guy was approved.
Right.
They're just hitting that account. If you're on the field all day, like, you don't know what's going on. And then when you get that call saying, hey, they hit my account, you said we were just getting approved, just to see if you get approved. So, like, I'm just straight up with everybody. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, as soon as I walk in the door, if it's a husband and wife and the wife's not there, do you have authorization to speak on your wife, like on your wife's behalf? Like, can you do this without your wife being around? Because if not, I'm coming back. No, I could do it. Because I don't want to hear I got to talk to my wife later. I'm not going for the next 30 minutes just to get that. If I have to come back, I'll come back. But yeah, I'm not pulling a wool over anybody's eyes. Like, if we do this, we're going to need this. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need this. We're going to look at 4 scenarios. We're going to look at criminal, DMV, MIB, script. It's safe to say you're not a criminal. No DWIs, no speeding tickets, no careless driving. MIB is what I'm worried about. Script is what I'm worried about. If we do this application, I'm going to need a driver's license. I'm going to need you to make some form of payment. If you can't do it today because you don't have $50 in your checking account, then you need to come to Family First Life and change your life. But
Recruiting from the home.
I've done that. I've also had people that are in bad situations where I'll just go to their house the next day with like a bunch of like internet leads and say, here, dial for me. Whatever, like be
Oh,
my
really?
dialer. Yeah, I've done that for a couple of clients. But that didn't last too long. Anybody else? Anybody?
How long did it take you to become comfortable?
Dude, I was always a people's person. At 13 years old, I was DJing. I worked in like a neighborhood deli where it was like the busiest deli. So I was always a people's person. I worked on Wall Street for a long time. I was successful. I was married to the same person twice. I have 3 kids. I know what it's like for people to tell me no. So I'm comfortable with you telling me no. But as far as comfy, like, why, are you nervous on the phone?
No, so I'm not more so nervous on the phone. I'm in the stage where it's like respond because I'm a kill, or respond because of the rebuttal I have in front of me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I want to.
Yeah, but what rebuttals are you getting?
So I'm basically getting I'm not interested. I didn't fill that out. So they say I'm not interested. I'll say all right. Perfect.
On internet leads? On
Internet,
instant
internet.
internet leads?
Yeah, instant internet leads.
When this is over, let's talk.
All right.
They filled it out. Some of them just, again, maybe it's your approach on the phone. Maybe they know you're new. Maybe they know you're reading off a script.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't want to talk to somebody who's new reading a script. All due respect. Could be, maybe. But if you're getting like a lot of those, keep it short, man.
Yeah.
You know, hey, this is John from Family First Life. I'm just touching base with you in regards to some life insurance you requested. Keep it simple. Instead of going through the whole, I'm a field underwriter, I work with 21 carriers and this, and your address is this. People don't care,
You know,
at least in the first 5-10 seconds.
I had that same issue last week. A lot of people was hanging up on.
Yeah, again, if you're calling 100 people, don't worry about those 80 people that are saying no or hanging up on you. Just worry about up to 20 people. But yeah, it could be the approach.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be what you're initially saying. I just like to keep it short and simple, as opposed to going through the whole what I do. I do that after they tell me they're interested. Like, oh yeah, the reason why I did that is because I have a term policy ending soon. Okay, well, let me tell you what I do. I'm a field underwriter for the state of New Jersey. I have like 21 carriers in my back pocket. Every carrier has a purpose. My job is to get this information out to you, see what you qualify for. I'll also take a look at that policy to see if it's worth replacing, or if you want to look at other options. I can guarantee you I can't get you that same policy for cheaper, especially if you got that policy 20 years ago. Not happening. But I could definitely put something in place for you. I think by allowing them to talk first and let them tell you why they inquired about this, they feel a little bit more relaxed. Now you tell them what you do, why you're calling, and how you can help them without going into too much details. And again, by you coming here every Monday for weeks, we won't even be having this discussion.
And I think the reason why a lot of you guys get, I'm no longer interested, is probably because a bunch of people have already called them, honestly. So they already know when they're like, oh, this again, I'm not interested. So they don't even hear you out. So there's ways around that you can say, which we could talk about after this, to kind of veer them back to, in order for us to stop calling you, we need to do A, B, C.
That's why it's imperative to not sit on those leads. As soon as you get them, you got to be calling them right away. Because again, there's 8 other agents that are hungrier than you that are calling them. And maybe they did speak to 2 of those guys already, and now you got your leads last Tuesday when you came out of conference, but you're just attacking them now. Meanwhile, 20 other people called them in the last week. We good?
Yep.
Thank you for
Thanks,
help.
John.
Thank you.